Here we go again, and happy Cyber Monday. I think it's Cyber Monday, and a massive welcome to all of you 7,937 subscribers, channel members, LinkedIn watchers, and of course, first-time viewers to what's going to be a thoroughly engaging, and I know firsthand, a very, very insightful session, as today I'm joined by Kenneth Ellington. Kenneth is a rising cybersecurity professional who is dedicated to nurturing new cybersecurity talent, which I know will be music to the ears of lots of people in the infosec.live community. A Florida native now based in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas, he's leveraged his unyielding drive to go from working at the deli counter to landing a Big Four senior cybersecurity consulting role, all within 3 fast-paced years. And his current specialities are in SIEM, SOAR, and endpoint security. And in his trainings, Kenneth brings that same energy and passion to his students as they learn about security solutions and address real-world scenarios. He also teaches cyber infrastructure part-time at the University of Houston, volunteers for the nonprofit Blacks in Cybersecurity, and trains in boxing and kickboxing in his free time. But before we bring him on and hear about his journey and what he's doing for the community, and especially for those new to the channel, my name's Simon Linstead. I'm the founder of the InfoSec Live community. And by sharing stories and best practices, we've had over 130,000 views here on YouTube, all thanks to you amazing subscribers. So for those that haven't subscribed yet and do enjoy our content, please do take a moment to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to be notified of all of our future shows. But let's not forget that this has all started with the global InfoSec Live community, which is now over 5,500 strong, growing fast, where we have study groups, mentor sessions, and regular networking events to help you raise your game in cybersecurity, no matter what stage of your career. And we do have a new leadership-focused channel encouraging collaboration and knowledge sharing. And it would be remiss of me not to mention our amazing community-driven in-person leadership events in both the UK and the US. With 7 events being held in 23, we've got 25 dates being released next week for 2024. So please do check out our events page for more information. Our next events are in London next week on the 5th, 6th and 7th of December to coincide with Black Hat Europe. The link for that page and our community site is in the event description here on YouTube. And before we move on, I just want to say a massive thank you to our latest channel members, Marianne, Philip Nicholas and Carlos. Your support is greatly appreciated. And for anyone out there who'd like to support the wider InfoSec Live community or just buy me a cheeky decaf coffee, we do have 3 tiers of membership options available right here on this channel. But whether you join or not, being here and engaging with our content is what really matters. So if you're watching this live or indeed on the replay, please do subscribe. And as we want these events to be as interactive as possible, for those tuning in live, please make sure you drop any questions in the chat. I can see we've already got some in there, and we're going to do our best to cover them all throughout or indeed at the end of the show. But for those who've watched this intro now many, many times, you'll be pleased to know it's over and it's time for the main event. Let's bring Kenneth on. Welcome.
Hey, Simon, how you doing?
That's a bit of a long-winded intro there. I know, Kenneth, so thank you for being patient.
No problem, no problem. Glad to be here.
So we spoke a few weeks back. Let me tell you how we ended up speaking. So I moan a lot online about boot camps, and the reason I approached Kenneth about coming on the show is because he's one of the ones out there, not necessarily providing a boot camp, but providing training services where all the feedback I've seen has been phenomenally positive. So I thought, what better way to share that with the community than by bringing Kenneth on the show today? So before we dig into what it is you're doing now for the community, Would you mind just telling our audience a bit about where you've come from, and in particular, how you've managed to smash your way into this industry in a very short period of time?
Sure thing. So I guess I'll start from the start. So I went to the University of South Florida. I'm from Tampa. That's why I have the Buccaneers shirt. I lived in Tampa for the majority of my life. Went to college there, and I got my degree in MIS in cybersecurity. My father's actually a software engineer. He's the one that kind of pushed us to go inside cybersecurity. Me and my brother. So initially, I didn't want to do coding. I thought it was god awful. Never wanted to touch it at all. Which funny enough, after I graduated, that was my first tech job. I was a software engineer, and I didn't like it, which I thought I wouldn't. But they paid me a lot of money, so I didn't mind doing it for a little bit.
At least you knew you were right.
Yeah. They made me program like Java applications all day, every day, which sucked so bad. So after that, I transferred back to cybersecurity, and I became like a SIEM engineer. And SIEM stands for Security Information Event Monitoring Systems. So think of Splunk Enterprise Security, Microsoft Sentinel, QRadar. Those technology stacks is what I primarily worked in when I worked at my old firm. Then after a while, during a great resignation, I believe, I found out I've been underpaid by like $60,000. And so I was like, let me see if I can get a better job. I asked for a raise, but they told me to kick rocks, basically. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to leave. So I left. I got a pay raise of like $60,000 for my new firm, and I've been with them ever since. So now I work as a senior consultant, and I work with like Fortune 100 companies, helping them design and manage their solutions for their environments.
I don't want to put words in your mouth here, but do you think your drive and determination has had a lot to do with your success, or do you think you've just been lucky?
What is this saying? Luck is the residue of success or something like that. So I've been blessed and fortunate to have a very great support group around me. I think the best thing that I've done, or my best attribute, is I've tried to take advantage of every opportunity that's come my way. So when it happens, I'm able to actually be in the right place in the right spot. So one of the things we tell our students is let people know what your true desires are, so they're able to speak on your behalf when you're not inside the room, right? Because you don't know the people that people know, right? So someone might know an executive, someone might know a senior engineer that can help you land a job or help you get a new business opportunity, right? So always let them know what you're able to do, right? Because closed mouths don't get fed. So if you know your family members, if your family members know somebody, just tell them what you do, right? Don't be shy. That's basically what I did for my entire career.
I think you're not giving yourself enough credit there. I hope you don't mind me saying that, but it's all very easy to say, take the opportunities. But I think a lot of people are blinkered to those, Kenneth, and you've got to be open to those possibilities, to take those opportunities, to take advantage of them, right?
Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing. I guess people are afraid they'll get told no, or get made fun of, but honestly, the worst thing that'll happen to you, they'll just ignore you. You get used to it after a while. And after a while, people that ignored you will start to come to you for help, which happened to me, which is very funny. So it takes time, basically.
Okay. What I'd like to talk about quickly is how you went from working at a deli counter to being in a fairly senior position within 3 years. So it wasn't just about taking the opportunities. How else did you do that? How did you demonstrate that you could do those roles?
So funny enough, to take it back off of that story, so when I work at public supermarkets, and anybody that's been to Tampa knows that's where you shop at, right? That's like the best place ever. I loved working there. I love working in the corporate environment. So initially I worked in a deli, right? I made sandwiches, I fried chicken, right? Made cold cuts, things of that nature. So I let my store manager know that, hey, I was transitioning from doing business management to IT and cybersecurity. I was looking for internships and opportunities to try to improve myself. Well, she knew that the head of security for Publix was coming towards our store. She's like, hey, Kenneth, the head of security coming towards our store 2 weeks. Do you want to meet him? I'm like, yes, Lori, I want to meet him. So she set up time between me and his name was Rick. And so he sat me down in the back office. I told him my story, like who I was. He's like, Kenneth, he's like, I love your attitude and effort. So he's like, Kenneth, if you can do all these steps that I'm about to give you, I can almost guarantee you a spot on our internship team next summer, because it was like the summer of 2018. So those spots were already filled up, right? So next year we can be open. I told him I can absolutely do it, And he gave me steps like go to B sites, go to some tech conferences, get certified in Smoke and Security Plus, do these things. Fast forward, I do all the tasks required of me. I interview with the team in March, and I get the position.
It's amazing. So
yeah,
basically, back to your point. Then tell people what you want.
Yeah,
Because if you hadn't have told your manager or whoever it was at work that wouldn't have happened, would it?
Yeah, it wouldn't happen. So that's kind of how I got my first cybersecurity job. And then from there, I made sure everyone inside the organization knew who I was and what my name was. So every day I would walk around the entire office and just say hello to everybody. And so I shadowed the red team for our security department, security engineering, GRC, security architecture, to software engineers. I shadowed the entire department basically to see what everyone did. So that helped me get
I'm so glad you've said that, and I'll tell you why. My 18-year-old landed his first job straight out of school as an apprentice at Aviva for cybersecurity here in the UK.
Awesome.
And he landed it by doing exactly the same as what you did, by talking to people and telling them what he wanted to do. And since he's been there, he's been doing exactly what you've just said, which is going around and speaking to every department CISO, every head of department in red team, head of department in vulnerability management, getting his face out there and known. And I think there's a lot to be said for that, isn't there? The old fashioned, as I'd call them, interpersonal skills, Kenneth.
Yeah, that's insanely important. That's honestly how I got here so quickly. I guess, especially like in IT and cybersecurity, people are normally pretty introverted, so they don't have the best social skills. Yeah. Sometimes that's by accident, sometimes that's on purpose, right? As you know, there's a lot of a-holes in this industry. As you'll find, I actually move up pretty quickly.
So lots of egos and a-holes.
Yeah. So if you're able to just honestly have like baseline good personality skills and be able to talk to people, especially when you do consulting and be a manager, that goes a long way, right? You always have to have like the right technical skills, right? Yeah. But knowing how to talk to people, how to empathize with people's needs and concerns is super important.
It's very true. I want to. I'm just looking at your bio actually, and as a fellow, or should I say, ex-kickboxer and boxer, it's been a long time since I've been in the ring. I'm a little bit physically damaged for that now, Kenneth. How much has that helped you with your confidence and enabling you to build relationships with people? Because for me, it's something I started to do when I was a teenager to help with that, and it massively did. Got me in a lot of trouble as well, but we won't talk about that. But it did help.
It's helped a lot. This has helped me not be afraid to talk to people. Honestly, you're right. Yeah. When you're training, it's a lot mentally and physically, right? Just to get through like one workout session. So for me, if I'm able to do that, I'm put myself out of my own comfort zone, then it's like all mental.
It's let's not forget Mike Tyson's famous saying: "Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face."
Yeah, that's definitely true.
It is very true. Right, we've got loads of questions in here. Before we talk about what you're doing at the Cyber Academy, let's just grab some of these questions out here. So let me move you to the top so you don't get cut off. There we go, like magic that was. Prashant, thank you for the question, my friend. What top skills would you recommend people should acquire in order to break into cybersecurity? We might have covered a few of those off, but any more to add?
It's going to depend on what area you want to get inside cybersecurity to start your career off. But let's go SOC analyst, right? That's the most common one.
Yeah.
You'll need fundamental networking knowledge in both regards, right? Actual networking with people, human beings, and then the inner networking is about actually how computers talk and how networks work, right? Those are fundamental skills. If you work inside a SOC environment, especially for an MSSP provider, which stands for Managed Security Services Provider, you probably have to know how a SIEM works or some type of XDR platform. So learn like Splunk, learn Microsoft Sentinel, Elastic, and maybe like Sentinel-1 or something like that. Right?
And is there, for those that don't know, is there training out there that's free to learn those platforms, or is that something you have to pay for?
There's free trainings. Biggest thing is just learn which ones are good, right? So you don't waste your time. So some of them aren't the best, right? Because there's random people teaching it. So just taking your time to actually figure out what's actually quality and what's not the biggest thing, I would say. But there are free trainings for that.
Sorting out the wheat from the chaff, as we say over here in the UK. Yeah.
Yes.
And I think one of the reasons, like I said at the start, why I wanted you to come on here is because you're clearly the wheat out of the chaff. From all the feedback I've seen from students that you've had, has all been overwhelmingly positive. And I'm the first to call people out when they're not adding any value. But I think we should also be the first to support those who are. So I'd encourage you after this show today to come and introduce yourself if you haven't in the infosec.live community as well. There's loads of people in there who are looking to break in. I'm sure you could help lots and lots of people. So please do if you haven't, Kenneth.
You definitely will.
Okay, next question. This is another good one. Another one from Prashant. I'm loving it. Why do you think cybersecurity is important to a company's survival?
I would say the biggest thing is if your system gets shut down, it's kind of hard for you to actually be a performing business, right? So making sure your assets are protected, especially for legal reasons, right? Especially, I'm not 100% sure how everything works in the UK. I know your guys' data privacy laws are a lot stricter than us over on the US side. But even still, right? If you lose customer data, right? You might have to pay a fine. Somebody might get jail time, right? If that happens. So companies protecting their own assets, basically, right?
I think it's reputation. I say reputational risk, although you look at all the companies who've had massive breaches and people still do business with them. So I do wonder whether there's enough concern from the general public as to what it actually means when somewhere gets breached. But let's not forget as well, Prashant, business enablement from security, because as the world evolves, and especially if you're in a regulated environment, or especially in the airspace, for example, or financial sector, you need a robust security behind your organization, or you're not going to get any business in, are you? That would be my other comment. Next question, Brian. Here we go. I'm 25, just moved to the IT industry. I'm looking to do a bachelor's degree at WGU in cyber. My first language is Spanish. How would you guys recommend me to grow in Spanish and English market? Well, let me answer that one first, Brian. We are now looking at putting infosec.live community into multiple languages around the world. Spanish is one of them. So please reach out to me in the community and let's have a chat about how we can collaborate and maybe work together on that. But Kenneth, any suggestions?
I would say cybersecurity is a global market, right? So if you're able to speak, if you're multilingual, right? Or bilingual, that's a very, very big plus. I know, especially for our company, there's a lot of clients that require that to work on their site, right? Or work with them. So you're able to have that puts you ahead of a lot of different people.
Very much so. Completely agree. Okay, next one. Sorry, I'm trying to do two things at once, which I clearly can't do. And Brian also mentioned, next go, I'm also looking for people to shadow or learn from remotely because I'm in Puerto Rico. Again, come and join our community. I'm going to drop some links in here for Kenneth's community as well. Join as many communities as you can. Simply Cyber is another good one. I'll drop some links in the chat afterwards. But yeah, as Kenneth rightly said at the start of this, the more people you speak to and the more people you let know what it is you're trying to achieve, the more chance you've got of success, I think. And here we go. Jonathan mentioned that he's actually seen quite a few roles open up for companies that are heavy in the Latin American market. Use the bilingual ability as an asset, as Kenneth just said. And Carrie is the last one, which is here. And then we're going to move on to what you're doing. Trying to get into the IT field. I don't have hands-on experience. How can I fix this? The last interview, I told them I only had book knowledge when they asked, and I felt stupid.
I would say definitely try to get hands-on experience. And there's a couple ways you can do that, right? First off, start off with what you're actually interested in, right? So try to narrow your focus, right? This is a very, very big field, right? You can't learn everything. Trust me, I've tried. So try to narrow down your focus. You want to do like SIEM engineering, you want to do SOAR engineering, then build out your lab environments with that, right? Go on the vendor sites, see how you're able to download and install your own environment, and then go from there, right? Then do best practice and try to configure and manage that environment. If you need questions about it, just let me know.
Brilliant, thank you. So now we're on to that then. So that was the last question. I just want to say thanks to Jonathan. Dr. Van Houten, who's in the audience, who has very kindly answered some of Carrie's messages. So thank you very much for that, Jonathan, much appreciated. But Kenneth, talk to me now. I've got some links here for all the bits and pieces that you're working on. The first one is, I think it's your website. Do you want to talk me through that and what you offer on there?
Sure. So the first link is probably our newly designed website. It should be up and running completely by the end of this week, but it's like 90% done. So for that, we offer SIEM and SOAR training and endpoint solution training. So think of Splunk Enterprise Security, Microsoft Sentinel. Those are the primary technology staff we're working for our actual Cyber Career Boost program, which is our 6-month program. So how that normally works is You would interview with me and my team. We would screen you, see if you're a good fit, right? We go over the price information, how I would help you out. Check to see what your needs are to see if you're a good fit, right? Because if you come to me saying, "Hey, I want to do penetration testing," I'm gonna tell you straight up, we don't do that, right? I personally don't like doing that, so I don't want to teach that towards you. I do know people that do that and do train people with that, so I can refer you towards them. They're also
But
partners of
also,
ours,
it's
right?
going back to make sure you know what you actually want to do,
Yeah,
and make sure you actually know what these roles are like. Because I came in wanting to be a penetration tester, failed my OSCP, and then after that, and wasting all that money, I realised that I'd never want to do that job in a million years. There's too much report writing for me. I can't stand it. But in my mind, I was, hood up, hacking stuff, and really cool, which in reality isn't quite like that, Kenneth, is it?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I try to be as honest as possible on the calls, so you guys know what to expect. Our stuff is very hard. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. My job is very hard. So we try to make the programs as realistic as possible. So when you guys actually go on your jobs, right, you're not freaked out as to what's going on. Um, there's constant support. So we have managers and senior personnel that work at Zendesk, AWS, Accenture, to name a few, and they're always there to support you any questions you may have. We run like threat intel workshops. We do different demo sessions with you guys. Try to make it as fun and collaborative as possible, basically.
Perfect. That's amazing. I've just seen, sorry, again, can't do two things at once. I've just seen Prashant drop another question in. I have dropped in the link to Kenneth's YouTube channel in the chat as well. Make sure that I can't even point the right way today. It's really one of those days. But Prashant said, for some of us who don't have programming knowledge, is there hope for us in the cybersecurity world? I can do basic, Prashant, from like 1983. I don't know if that counts, does it?
Yeah, I would say there's definitely hope for you. Not all roles require programming knowledge. And the ones that do, depending on what role you are, it's not insanely heavy. So if you have basic scripting knowledge, you should be fine for the majority of roles that you might want to apply for. There's also a lot of roles that don't require that, like tech sales. So if you're like a sales engineer or solutions engineer, a lot of times you don't need any programming knowledge, right? If you're like a software security engineer, then yeah, you have to know how to actually develop stuff. But not all roles require that.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I think there's so many roles in cybersecurity where you don't really need to have a programming expertise. I mean, I know we're not talking about it today, but there's governance, risk, and compliance. Don't particularly need to be able to code in that, I don't think. And again, the big bit that everyone misses, in my opinion, is the sales part of the industry. There's massive scope for people who have actually got those interpersonal skills and the ability to learn to come in and add some value in this industry, my personal opinion. But
I
so
agree.
one more link there. I think this is your current site that I'm going to drop in.
Yes.
But talk to me about people you can help the most. So people are listening to this. What kind of person is going to benefit from engaging with you on this, Kenneth? And
I
how
would
does it
say,
work? How does the process work as well? Let's talk about that.
okay, I'll answer the first question. So I would say our ideal client is someone that is probably already in cybersecurity, right? Let's say they're a SOC analyst or junior one, and they want to move up to being a senior analyst or engineer or become a manager, right? Those normally are the quickest turnarounds for who we work with because they already have the basic fundamental experience. So we're just teaching them how to actually use the platforms and actually how to manage and design those. With that being said, we do help people that have never had any cybersecurity experience at all either. And we've had very good success stories with that as well. So for the process, right? Let's say you're interested in trying to join our actual programs, right? You would go on our site or talk to them on LinkedIn. We'll talk about what your actual goals are. If I believe you're a good fit, I'll send you one of our free training videos, which will go over in detail how our programs are actually structured and what to expect. Once you watch that, there'll be a link for you to actually schedule a call with me using Calendly. And from there, I'll walk you through an actual demo what the platform looks like and what to expect during the program. If you have any questions for me about the program or any concerns, you can ask me then and there. We also have some early sign-on bonuses as well to kind of sweeten the deal. But if you need like a week or two, that's fine as well. And then if you do decide to join, you'll schedule the onboarding call with me, and then I'll onboard you towards our platform, get you integrated with our community, and then you'll be part of UCA from there.
That's amazing. Thank you. I've just seen another question come in that's one that we get asked all the time, and you see a lot of chat about this on LinkedIn. Michael Tully, watching from LinkedIn. Thanks, Michael. How can we get past the entry-level positions that require 5 years plus experience in CISSP? I'll just throw that in there, even though you haven't added it, Michael.
I would say, I'd say there's a disconnect between like the hiring managers and the actual recruiters all the times. So the recruiters may not fully understand what the hiring managers are talking about, and vice versa. So there may be a disconnect after what the actual requirements are, because almost all of those positions don't actually require 5 years experience, right? I would say if you meet between like 70 and 80% of the requirements listed, then go ahead and apply. Because again, don't ever self-select yourself out. Worst thing they can tell you is no, or they just won't respond back, right? So just have that type of mindset. I would also say networking is very important, right? Because it helps to get your actual resume and your face in front of the actual hiring managers, right? So you
Yeah.
skip the ATS step basically, which increases your
It's. I
chance
mean,
of.
how many jobs out there are filled before they're even posted? I mean, I've had my own business. I know the rules about advertising jobs. A lot of the jobs out there are already filled before anyone even sends a CV in or a resume. I think Kenneth's absolutely right. It's not what you know. Sometimes it's who you know. It's building that network, having those conversations, and that's where I think working with someone like Kenneth can help. Richard at Brainstorm Security has asked a question here: do they need experience? Your students just been speaking to three-year or year three, or 3 year university students. Not quite sure whether they're year three university students or 3 university students. All keen and talented, looking at the next steps. Would what you provide help them?
Yes, I would say it would help them. For them, I try to make it as it was as bespoke as possible, just as niche as possible per each client, right? So I'd have to individually talk to them, see what their needs are, to
Yeah.
give them the best solution possible. But I would say hands-on experience is especially for what I do is the best route. Um, so we normally try to make our programs as hands-on as possible. So we would try to help them get internships if they're still in college. If they want to go directly towards the job market, we can help them out with that. We're just very honest with them, letting them know that the less experience you have, normally the longer it takes for you to get hired after our programs. But again, we'll be with you until you reach your end goal, right? So you still have
Yeah.
access towards all materials until you get hired, basically.
Oh, I love that. And I think we've just answered, or you've just answered this question from Greg, but he's looking to become a junior SOC analyst, but already enrolled in WGU also. I think what Kenneth brings to the table here is more than a certificate. It's that practical hands-on experience and also the connections that you bring to the table as well. I hope I'm not putting words into your mouth now, by the way. Very good at that.
Yeah, you're correct. You're correct, Simon. I think for you, Greg, a lot of our students are actually currently enrolled in WGU or enrolled before or after they finish a program. So it's pretty common for them to do both of the programs at the same time. So for us, we are in our certification program, right? I should give you guys the actual hands-on skill because you can go and pass a certification test and not know what the hell you're doing, right, when you're in an
I've
interview.
been there and done that. Yeah.
Um, so we try to again be as hands-on as possible for our programs. So I would say, a better alternative than getting like a master's degree. A lot of that knowledge is theoretical. Get an interview, they ask you basic questions about how Splunk or some technologies work. They're not able to answer that right, so it looks kind of
And
awkward.
this is back to my whole bugbear with the industry is that everyone's told to go out and get a certain suite of qualifications, and that will then help them go and get a job. And every single organization is different. They all have different tech stacks, they have different processes. So if you can mold your learning path around what it is you're actually targeting at the end, you can provide people with value when you start at the organization. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah. Every company has their own technology stack, basically, right? So one financial company may have a different one from the other, right? So learning their specific one is only applicable towards what they do. A lot of their internal applications, excuse me, are like proprietary. So if you leave Bank of America and you go to, I don't know, Chase Bank or something like that, those suite of applications will be completely different, right? So it won't be
Yeah.
helpful.
But let's not forget, Prashant, that getting certs will get you a guaranteed salary of $1 million a week. But yeah, I think that's the problem with the industry, isn't it? Okay, we're pretty much out of time. What I'd like to do, Kenneth, is drop your LinkedIn profile into the chat as well, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm going to drop that in, and I'm also just going to drop back in because they've gone up the top now. This is Kenneth's site. I think you said that it's got some topping and tailing to be done, and it will be finished by next week. But please do visit it now. And this here is Kenneth's YouTube channel. I'm going to drop that in the chat, and I hope, Kenneth, that we'll see you in the infosec live community soon. I don't know if you've joined
Yes, sir.
already.
Yes.
You have, brilliant. But if you'd like to come in perhaps and run some sessions, like 20-minute sessions in there, giving some guidance, I think you might pick up some potential clients from that as well. Yeah, sort of a give-take relationship there, where you give a bit back to the community in the hope that you get some people engaging. Brilliant. Excellent. In that case then, for those that don't know, I drove all the way to London yesterday and picked up the cutest 9-week-old puppy, because I lost my 11-year-old bull mastiff a couple of weeks ago, and she's probably destroyed the whole of the downstairs of the house. So I'm going to cut this short now and lay on the sofa and cuddle my puppy. I hope you all have an amazing evening or rest of the day. Kenneth, any last words for people watching before we wrap up?
I would say this last thing is you guys can do it, right? Just put in the work, build the right community around you, and you guys will be in good shape.
Yeah, that's a great quote. And Prashant, you've already got a customer there. When he gets back into work, he'll be looking at doing the SIEM course with Kenneth. Awesome. And there we go. Richard's confirming. Thanks. Final year cybersecurity student. So yes, I think the answer was yes. And thank you, Christopher, for congrats on the little pup. If you want to see puppy pictures, come and join the community and have a look, and I'll post them in there in about half an hour. But look, on my LinkedIn, Alexandra, hold on 1 second. Just caught us there. It's here. Bear with me. 1 moment, caller. There we go. And drop that in the chat. Kenneth, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. I really hope to see you in the community soon. And if you ever fancy coming on here again, just ask. It was amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Simon. Appreciate it.
Pleasure. Everyone, have a great day. See you soon.
Thank you.